Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of incredible sources and distill them into the most potent, thought-provoking insights, all just for you.
Great to be diving in.
So today, we're asking a question that, well, it might sound a little strange for a show about leadership and ethics, maybe, but trust me, it's profoundly relevant.
Okay, let's hear it.
What if the park was always a mirror?
That's a compelling starting point, isn't it? Because the true fantasy of Jurassic Park, well, it was never really just about the dinosaurs themselves, not purely.
Right.
At its heart, it was always about humanity's grandest and maybe most dangerous illusion. The illusion of control.
That deep-seated belief.
Yeah, that deeply ingrained belief that we could somehow bend nature or, even history, just bend it to our own will instead of understanding its inherent wildness.
Absolutely, and that's precisely where our journey begins today. Think about John Hammond, okay? Yeah. With his grand vision, this park bursting with wonder and spectacle, a place where science and profit could not only coexist, but, seemingly thrive in perfect harmonious balance. He saw it as a monument to human ingenuity, right? A paradise resurrected.
That was the dream, the sales pitch anyway.
But as we all know, behind those really imposing electrified gates of Isla Nublar, that illusion, well, it didn't just fray at the edges. It's spectacularly, terrifyingly unraveled.
Completely fell apart.
And what spilled out wasn't merely a few rogue dinosaurs or like a bit of runaway DNA. No, it was a torrent of profound human failings.
Things like
the suffocating grip of hubris, the unchecked swell of corporate ego, and maybe most crucially, the perilous refusal to genuinely listen to dissenting voices.
And that unraveling, as our source, Lóng Tíng, makes so clear, is precisely the core so what of the story. It elevates Jurassic Park way beyond just a blockbuster film.
It really does.
It transforms it into a relevant, even urgent parable for our own time. It moves past simple entertainment. It becomes this pertinent case study in human nature, systemic vulnerabilities, the whole complex dynamic of power and responsibility.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the source material just immediately reframes the whole narrative. It suggests Jurassic Park acts as this profound allegory, revealing that the real danger, it lies not in a resurrected prehistoric world, but in our own inherent flaws, particularly in leadership.
As highlighted so starkly by John Hammond's misguided, but undeniably charismatic vision.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive isn't just to, rehash a beloved tale of creatures reborn.
Right.
Instead, we're going to explore Jurassic Park as what Lóng Tíng and their incredible piece, Legacy, Illusion, and the Lost World, within what Jurassic Park teaches us about leadership, calls a cautionary epic.
A cautionary epic about leadership systems and the dangerous comfort of certainty.
Yes. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding some incredibly complex dynamics. Power, ethics, human nature, all viewed through this surprisingly familiar lens.
Okay.
So, as we begin this deep dive, consider this. What grand projects or, ambitious visions in our modern world might be built on a similar foundation, a foundation of unexamined assumptions, or maybe ethical shortcuts?
Good question to hold on to.
Yeah, hold on to that thought as we jump into part one. All right, let's really unpack this. John Hammond. He dreamt of legacy. Oh, how he yearned for it.
It was his driving force.
Absolutely. A park where magic truly returned, where the impossible was made manifest. He envisioned this monument to his pioneering spirit, a place where families would gasp in awe for generations to come.
You can almost feel that allure, can't you? Creating something so unprecedented, so magnificent, a testament to one's own singular will, their ingenuity.
It's a powerful draw for any leader, isn't it? That desire to leave an indelible mark, to be remembered for something truly groundbreaking.
It is, definitely. But here's where the source material and, the story itself introduces that crucial paradox.
Okay.
That powerful dream was tragically underpinned by his most fatal flaw.
Which was?
He led through nostalgia, not responsibility. He wasn't building for the future with, comprehensive foresight. He was essentially recreating a past he idealized.
Huh. Like a fantasy version of the past.
Exactly. Projecting this vision of wonder without truly grappling with the colossal implications. He was enchanted by the what if we bring dinosaurs back, but much less enchanted by the what then, What happens after we bring them back? How do we contain them?
His focus was just on the spectacle, wasn't it? The initial wow factor.
Right. Rather than the enduring safety, the ethical robustness of the entire enterprise, it was all about the surface.
And that singular focus, that almost childlike belief in his vision, it's perfectly encapsulated in that really impactful quote attributed to Hammond himself. Creation is an act of sheer will.
Powerful words.
Just think about that for a moment. The immense power, yes, but also the inherent danger in such a declaration.
It speaks to an unyielding determination, doesn't it? An unshakable conviction that if you simply will something into existence, it will be.
But it also implies a potential blindness, right? A profound tunnel vision that might just exclude anything outside that very strong will.
Like unforeseen consequences.
Exactly. Or the wisdom of others or, ethical considerations. Those just get pushed aside.
Precisely. That statement captures the very essence of a singular, unchallenged focus on creation, often without fully considering the broader cascading implications.
Yeah.
This sheer will can certainly move mountains, no doubt. But it can also just pave over critical ethical considerations if it's not balanced with deep responsibility and comprehensive foresight.
And we see this with Hammond, clearly. He willed the park into being, pushing past scientific caution, financial prudence, common sense.
He dismissed the warnings, didn't he? Experts like Ian Malcolm, even his own chief geneticist, Dr. Henry Wu, who, quietly understood the inherent unpredictability of their creations.
Wu knew.
Oh, I think Wu knew more than he let on, certainly, about the potential for things to go wrong. But Hammond wasn't listening. It's the kind of mindset that pushes boundaries without first drawing responsible lines. It operates on the assumption that anything technically possible is automatically ethically permissible.
Which is such a dangerous assumption.
Hugely dangerous.
And that brings us right to the ethical blind spots that just riddled his grand endeavor. His vision, as our source points out, was quite literally built on borrowed science and shaky ethics. And this wasn't just about cutting a few corners here or there, like, using frog DNA to fill the gaps, or relying on one single fallible programmer, Dennis Nedry, for all the security.
Right, those are symptoms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was about a fundamental disregard for the very moral foundation of such a monumental undertaking. Ethics, for Hammond, they felt like an afterthought.
A nuisance, maybe.
Yeah, a nuisance to be addressed once the wonder was already in place. And as for checks and balances...
Delegated.
Well, those were conveniently delegated, or worse, completely ignored. Think about that initial safety tour. It was basically a sales pitch, wasn't it?
Totally. It wasn't a rigorous inspection.
The entire setup was designed purely to impress, not to truly protect.
And what's fascinating here is that this isn't just a plot device, to explain why the park collapsed. This delegation, this dismissal of ethical oversight, it's a common perilous trap for leaders in our own world.
You think so?
Absolutely. When a leader is so consumed by the grandeur of their vision, whether it's launching a revolutionary product, pioneering a new technology, or scaling a business at unprecedented speed, they often fail to engage deeply with the potential risks. The moral dilemma is inherent in that ambition.
They just push them off.
They might push these responsibilities off to legal teams or compliance departments or just ignore them altogether, believing the sheer momentum of their creation will overcome any obstacle. It's a form of willful ignorance, really.
Where the pursuit of the spectacular just overshadows the necessity of the sensible.
And the immediate financial or reputational gain eclipses any long-term ethical implications.
Yeah. You see this play out in so many modern scenarios. In today's world, so many leaders do exactly the same thing.
How so?
They invest heavily in a compelling vision, sure, but they actively shy away from inviting dissent or, scrutinizing criticism. They trust implicitly in technology, believing it'll solve all problems, while simultaneously neglecting the timeless wisdom that comes from careful consideration. Ethical reflection.
Right.
Think about the early days of certain tech startups, prioritizing rapid growth at all costs, right?
Yeah.
Often leading to fundamental user privacy breaches or addictive design patterns.
And they only address the ethical fallout much later, reactively.
Exactly. Or consider how some biotech companies push the boundaries of what's possible, maybe even creating new life forms or modifying human genes without nearly enough societal discourse on the profound ethical implications.
The drive to be first.
The drive to be first, to be biggest, to capture market share. It often eclipses that thoughtful, measured consideration of potential negative impacts on individuals or society at large.
And this brings us to the core takeaway from this section, as reinforced by Lóng Tíng. Charisma is not enough.
It really isn't.
Legacy without accountability breeds disaster. A compelling vision, no matter how inspiring or revolutionary, can very easily mask profound organizational weaknesses if it's not paired with rigorous ethical frameworks, a deeply ingrained culture of accountability.
Hammond's charisma was undeniable, though. He could charm a raptor out of its cage, almost.
Almost. But that charm, that singular focus on sparing no expense for the spectacle, it masked a deep unwillingness to accept true responsibility for the consequences of his creation.
Right.
Without those safeguards, without a leadership committed to ongoing ethical scrutiny and true accountability, the path to disaster isn't just open, it's well-trodden, leading not to monument but to wreckage.
It's a stark warning, really. John Hammond's pursuit of a grand legacy, driven by this charismatic vision, but totally devoid of true accountability, ethical foresight. It serves as a profound lesson about the inherent dangers of unchecked ambition in leadership.
Definitely.
So as we move forward, maybe consider, where do we observe charismatic leaders today whose singular vision might be blinding them and, blinding us to the critical ethical considerations?
Yeah.
Or the long-term consequences of their actions? And what kind of legacy are they truly building?
Food for thought.
Okay, let's dive into what is perhaps the most profound observation in our entire source material, and honestly, one of the most resonant insights from the whole Jurassic Park narrative.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Michael Crichton, the brilliant author of the original novel, famously said, "The danger is not the dinosaur.
The danger is the illusion of control."
Exactly. Now, just think about that for a moment. It completely reframes the entire narrative, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It shifts the focus entirely.
It's not about the terrifying creatures breaking free. It's about the hubris, the fatal flaw of believing you could ever truly contain them, that you could truly control the wild.
It's a chilling insight, and one that resonates so deeply beyond the fictional park. Leadership, in so many contexts, from global corporations to national governments, from individual projects to entire industries, often operates squarely within that very illusion.
Thinking they've got it all figured out.
Right. Leaders painstakingly build these intricate infrastructures, robust systems, elaborate safety nets, often convinced they can contain all variables, anticipate every outcome, manage every single risk.
Checklists, protocols, contingency plans.
All of it, believing that sufficient planning will somehow conquer all uncertainty. But as Lóng Tíng so aptly stresses, echoing Crescent, chaos has its own logic.
It's not just randomness.
No, it's an inherent unpredictability, a wildness that grand designs and meticulously crafted plans often completely fail to account for. Because they're built on this, linear, predictable understanding of the world.
Instead of embracing its inherent complexity.
Exactly.
And we see this played out in agonizing detail during the park's catastrophic downfall. It wasn't just a random series of unfortunate events, was it?
Not at all. Predictable, in hindsight.
The source makes it clear, and the film vividly depicts it. The fail-safe systems failed. The electric fences lost power. The human chain of command just broke down under pressure.
The so-called 100% security measures just evaporated.
Yeah, these weren't anomalies. They were direct, predictable consequences of that pervasive overconfidence. The park was designed for a world where humans were always in charge, where every variable could be accounted for.
But life, as Dr. Malcolm famously put it...
Life finds a way.
Exactly. These failures were not random, but a direct and inevitable consequence of that pervasive overconfidence. It was the belief, the fatal flaw, that every variable could be anticipated, every contingency planned for, every potential danger managed within the confines of their constructed world.
So certain.
And when leaders become convinced they can contain everything, they inevitably stop preparing for what can't be predicted.
That's the paradox, isn't it?
It's the ultimate paradox of certainty. The more certain you are of control, the less prepared you are for the inevitable chaos that will, inevitably emerge from complex, unpredictable systems. They stop building for resilience because they believe their containment is infallible.
So, if Jurassic Park teaches us anything, it's about designing for resilience, not just containment. It's about acknowledging that the universe and even our own complex systems will always throw curveballs we didn't see coming.
Always.
Real leadership, the kind that actually endures and thrives amidst unpredictability, admits uncertainty. And fundamentally, it designs for resilience. But what does it truly mean to design for resilience in a world that constantly seeks certainty, that craves absolute guarantees and perfect containment? It feels counterintuitive to many in power.
Well, to design for resilience means acknowledging that perfect containment is, frankly, a myth. It's an impossible ideal when you're dealing with truly complex systems. It means building systems, whether they're corporate strategies, technological architectures, even social frameworks that are not just strong, but adaptable.
Flexible.
Exactly. It's about creating redundancy, fostering diverse perspectives, actively seeking out and listening to dissenting voices, learning from failure instead of just sweeping it under the rug, embracing flexibility rather than rigidity.
It's like knowing you're going to get hit, so you focus on how to take the punch and get back up.
Precisely. It's the profound understanding that disruption isn't an if, but a when, and preparing for how to absorb, adapt, and maybe even thrive amidst that disruption. It means building systems that can bend without breaking and even recover after a break.
And you can see this concept playing out in so many modern systems, making it incredibly relevant to our world today.
For sure.
Think about the shocking fragility we discovered in complex global supply chains during recent crises, where a single bottleneck could bring entire industries just grinding to a halt.
Yeah, just in time became just too late.
Right. Or the inherent vulnerabilities within these vast, interconnected digital infrastructures that underpin our entire modern world, where a single cyber attack can cripple essential services. Even in the exciting yet sometimes unsettling advancements in AI development, there's a lurking danger there too.
Oh, so?
Well, a pervasive belief in self-correcting algorithms or autonomous systems might lead to a neglect of vital human oversight, creating unforeseen, uncontrollable consequences when these systems operate outside their intended parameters.
The black box problem.
Exactly. The illusion of control can pervade everything from corporate strategy, where companies relentlessly pursue efficiency at the expense of robustness,
to national security, where the assumption of invincibility can make systems incredibly brittle rather than genuinely robust.
Wow.
So the catastrophic failure of Jurassic Park serves as this stark metaphor for the inherent perils of leadership rooted in the illusion of absolute control. It demonstrates that overconfidence inevitably leads to systemic collapse when faced with the unpredictable, chaotic nature of complex systems.
The true lesson is that we are not masters of the universe.
And attempting to be so will always lead to an eventual, often spectacular, downfall.
So thinking about your own life, or maybe your organization, where might the illusion of control be preventing necessary preparations for the truly unpredictable? And what would it mean to actively design for resilience instead, to embrace uncertainty as a fundamental design principle?
Something to really mull over.
Definitely. Something to think about as we explore who truly leads when the illusion shatters. Okay, so if Hammond represents the flawed vision and the illusion of control, who then emerges when everything falls apart, when the meticulously constructed park just descends into chaos?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah. Here's where our source truly shines a light on unexpected heroism. True leadership didn't come from the founder. It emerged under pressure.
From the ground up, almost.
Exactly. From individuals who lacked formal authority but possessed real courage and capability. These are the characters we truly root for, right? The ones who stepped up when the script completely broke down.
And Lóng Tíng's analysis pinpoints these crucial figures perfectly. They represent different yet equally vital facets of ethical and adaptive leadership.
Especially when the established hierarchy collapses.
Right. When traditional power structures prove inadequate or even, detrimental, they show us that leadership isn't just about a title. It's about action, foresight, and a willingness to do what's right when everything else is going wrong.
Okay, let's start with Ellie Sattler, the paleobotanist, the scientist. She embodies incredible courage and scientific integrity. From the moment things start to go wrong, she's not just asking questions. She's actively seeking solutions, often putting herself in direct danger.
She acted without permission, didn't she?
Totally. She trusted her gut instinct and, crucially, her deep scientific understanding, even when it meant defying established protocols or challenging those in charge, like when she insisted on accompanying Muldoon to the power shed.
Risky move.
Very. She was proactive, she was hands-on, and she saw the problem for what it was, not what it was supposed to be, according to Hammond's rosy vision. She's the epitome of someone who sees the actual data, processes it, and acts decisively based on reality, not wishful thinking.
Her actions really underscore the immense importance of critical thinking and proactive problem-solving that often needs to happen outside of formal channels, especially in a crisis.
She didn't wait for permission.
No, she didn't wait for permission to do what was right or necessary. She just did it, driven by this deep understanding of the scientific realities and an innate sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
Ellie exemplifies the leader who prioritizes objective truths, urgent action over hierarchy or personal safety, bringing essential scientific expertise to bear precisely when it's most needed, even if it's inconvenient for those in power. She's the kind of leader who identifies the root cause and isn't afraid to confront it, regardless of the danger.
Then there's Alan Grant. He starts off as this detached, almost curmudgeonly paleontologist, right?
More comfortable with fossils than people.
Totally. More comfortable with fossilized bones than living, breathing creatures, and certainly not children. He's an intellectual, a theory man.
But he undergoes this profound transformation.
He really does. From a purely academic expert to a fierce protector of life. When faced with the immediate, terrifying reality of the escaped dinosaurs and the imperiled children, his priorities fundamentally shift.
He steps up.
He prioritizes protecting life over the spectacle that Hammond so desperately wanted to preserve. And he adapts with incredible resilience despite profound fear. He literally overcomes his terror of heights, scales walls, overcomes his initial disdain for kids to lead Tim and Lex to safety through impossible odds.
His journey is a powerful testament to unexpected empathy, isn't it?
It really is.
His shift from a purely academic interest to genuine active care is a powerful narrative of emergent leadership. It highlights how real leadership isn't just about intellectual prowess or specialized knowledge.
It's about empathy.
Empathy, adaptability, and the willingness to pivot your focus when human lives or fundamental values are at stake. It's about being willing to get your hands dirty, literally and figuratively, when the situation demands it, and to take responsibility for others, even if it wasn't initially your job description.
He becomes a leader almost against his will.
Grant becomes a leader not because he wanted to, but because the crisis demanded it, and he rose to the occasion, valuing human life above all else.
And of course, we can't forget Ian Malcolm.
The chaos theorist himself.
The voice of chaos, the prophet of doom, warning everyone, even when he was completely ignored.
Right from the start.
He was the one seeing the systemic flaws, the inherent instability, the fundamental folly of the entire enterprise long before anyone else. He was the one pointing out that nature finds a way, that complex systems are inherently unpredictable.
That life cannot be contained in a tidy, controlled environment. His role is to challenge, to provoke, to offer those uncomfortable truths. Malcolm represents the absolutely vital role of dissenting voices, those who possess the intellectual courage to point out systemic flaws, hidden risks, and uncomfortable truths before they manifest as full-blown disasters.
Leaders need people like that, even if they don't like hearing it.
Absolutely. Leaders who genuinely listen to their Ian Malcolms, the internal critics, the external experts who see what others are missing, the whistleblowers are far better equipped to navigate complexity than those who dismiss such warnings as mere negativity or inconvenient truths or, not being a team player.
Malcolm is like the uncomfortable conscience of the whole operation.
Highlighting the fundamental arrogance of human control.
Yeah. So these people, Ellie, Alan, Ian, they weren't executives, were they? They weren't sitting in corner offices making strategic decisions or approving budgets.
Right at all.
Our source puts it perfectly. They were thinkers, doers, questioners. This dramatically expands our definition of what a leader truly is, doesn't it?
It really does.
The core lesson from their actions is that leaders are not always those in charge, not always the ones with the fancy titles or the corner offices. Sometimes they're the ones who simply act when the script breaks down.
When the formal plans crumble.
When the hierarchy proves ineffective, they're the ones who instinctively bring ethics into the emergency, who see beyond the quarterly reports and the shareholders, focusing instead on what truly matters.
Safety, life, integrity.
Exactly. They lead by example, by insight, and by raw courage.
And this is such a critical point for real-world application because we often glorify the hero leader in the CEO's chair, right?
The top-down view.
But think about contemporary scenarios. Whistleblowers revealing corporate malfeasance, often at great personal risk, precisely because they see a fundamental ethical breakdown that those in power are ignoring.
Yeah, that takes courage.
Immense courage. Or frontline workers during a crisis, be it a natural disaster or a pandemic, who, when official protocols fail, adapt and innovate on the fly, finding solutions no one in management had conceived because they are closest to the problem.
They just figure it out.
They just figure it out. Or even climate scientists whose warnings about environmental crises are initially dismissed as alarmist, but are later proven crucial, much like Malcolm's theories of chaos.
It's ironic, isn't it? Traditional hierarchies can sometimes stifle the very people best equipped to lead in unforeseen circumstances.
Because their voices aren't elevated or they don't fit the typical leadership mold.
Yeah. So authentic leadership often arises not from formal positions of power, but from individuals like Ellie Sattler, Helen Grant, and Ian Malcolm. People who demonstrate courage, ethical conviction, and profound adaptability when existing systems inevitably collapse.
They remind us that the capacity for true leadership lies within us all, waiting for the moment we choose to act responsibly.
Definitely. So consider a crisis you've witnessed or experienced. Who are the Ellie, Allen, or Ian figures who truly stepped up, maybe without formal authority? And what can we learn from their actions about what true leadership really looks like?
A valuable reflection.
Now let's fast forward a couple of decades. Let's talk about Jurassic World.
Okay, the reboot. Or sequel, or something.
Yeah, because this story is mutated, hasn't it? Just like some of those creatures. The sequel isn't just about the wonder of cloning and the illusion of control anymore.
No, it's different.
It's about the very intentional, almost cynical engineering of thrill for profit.
Mm-hmm.
The original park was Hammond's dream of spectacle, right? Jurassic World feels like the commercialization of that dream with all the ethical compromises that implies.
And with that, the illusion of control becomes even more deeply embedded, almost baked into the very infrastructure, now driven by market demand.
Bigger, louder, more teeth.
We see bigger predators, flashier designs, a fully branded, data-driven ecosystem. The shift is palpable, from scientific marvel and nostalgic wonder to pure, unadulterated entertainment.
It signifies a profound escalation of the hubris we saw in the first film, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does. But now it's cloaked in corporate efficiency, analytics, and this relentless market pressure to continually one-up itself. The park managers aren't trying to recreate a lost world. They're trying to deliver shareholder value through increasingly extreme experiences.
And what's fascinating is how leadership itself evolves, or maybe devolves, in this corporate era.
Right. We meet Claire Deering.
Claire. Initially a quintessential corporate figure obsessed with metrics over meaning, visitor numbers, bottom lines, almost robotic in her adherence to procedure.
Spreadsheets and control.
Her main goal is just keep the park running smoothly and profitably. And then there's Owen Grady,
the raptor guy,
who starts as this highly skilled animal trainer, not really a strategic leader, focused on his raptors, viewing them through the lens of animal behavior, not corporate assets.
Right.
Yet Crisis, once again, acts as this brutal but profoundly effective crucible. It forces growth, humility, clarity in these characters.
It shows that even though steeped in the most rigid corporate logic or isolated expertise, can adapt, learn, fundamentally change when faced with overwhelming reality.
When their controlled environment collapses.
Yeah. They're forced to become leaders by necessity, not by title.
Their arcs are crucial, though, aren't they?
They are, because they demonstrate that while unchecked corporate ambition can certainly create monsters, individuals within those systems aren't necessarily doomed to repeat the same mistakes indefinitely.
There's hope for change.
Crisis can strip away the comfortable illusions of power and procedure, force a confrontation with what truly matters, prompting a fundamental shift from a purely transactional mindset to one rooted in responsibility, empathy, genuine care for life.
Like Claire moving from seeing the dinosaurs as assets
to recognizing them as living, sentient beings. And Owen's protective instincts extend beyond his trained raptors to human children, even the well-being of the broader ecosystem.
But the real star, or maybe the terrifying embodiment of this new era of hyper-commercialized thrill-seeking, is the Indominus Rex.
Yes. The ultimate hybrid.
She's not some natural evolutionary step, is she? She's a product of pure market logic.
Designed by committee.
A beast born from analytics. Meticulously designed to be bigger, scarier, more appealing to focus groups than to biological principles or ethical restraint. She's a creature of calculated design, not careful stewardship.
She exists because the survey showed consumers wanted more teeth.
It's chilling. This isn't about scientific discovery. It's about maximizing spectacle for profit, whatever the cost.
And this is where the core message truly crystallizes. The Indominus Rex is what leadership becomes when it listens only to market pressure, only to consumer demand for novelty and excitement.
And not to fundamental principles, ethical boundaries, or genuine care for its creation.
Exactly. This creature, a manufactured apex predator, engineered with traits for maximum terror and unpredictability, It's the chilling embodiment of unchecked market demand colliding head-on with reckless scientific ambition.
It's a literal manifestation of prioritizing spectacle and profit above all else, regardless of the inherent dangers or moral implications.
The Indominus Rex, in its very design and existence, asks, what monstrous creations do we foster when profit is the sole driver and ethics are just an afterthought?
And this isn't just a fictional monster confined to a movie screen, is it? We see real-world cautionary tales echoing this exact principle, often in less dramatic, but maybe equally insidious ways.
Like what?
Well, think about the creation of highly addictive social media algorithms, meticulously optimized for maximum user engagement and advertising revenue rather than genuine user well-being or mental health.
The engagement trap.
Right, or the relentless pursuit of disruptive innovation in tech or biotech, often without sufficient ethical guardrails to protect against unintended consequences like widespread misinformation, job displacement, new forms of societal inequality.
Pushing forward without looking sideways.
Exactly. Even the pressure to continuously scale up or monetize in various industries can come at the expense of sustainability, safety, quality, or fundamental moral considerations. The drive for spectacle and profit, for that next big thing, for constant growth. It can profoundly distort ethical decision-making in real companies today, leading to unintended monsters in our own world.
So Jurassic World really escalates the cautionary tale, showing how leadership driven by market demand and the relentless pursuit of spectacle can birth creations like the Indominus Rex, which embodies this dangerous disregard for ethical principles.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? If we're not careful, our own pursuit of what is bigger, faster, more engaging can lead us to create something truly destructive.
Not out of malice, necessarily.
No, but out of a simple, relentless focus on the bottom line.
Yeah.
So how do we see the Indominus Rex principle manifesting in current industries, where the relentless pursuit of market share or consumer engagement might be prioritizing analytics over genuine care and ethical development?
It's a question worth asking ourselves every day.
And one that has profound implications for our future. As the Jurassic Park narrative progresses into its later films and even the Camp Cretaceous animated series, we are dragged into even darker corners of human hubris. It gets bleaker.
It really does. We move beyond those grand illusions of control and the pursuit of spectacle
To what can only be described as secret labs, abandoned hybrids, and creatures deliberately weaponized for profit or power.
The very nature of the cloned dinosaurs shifts, doesn't it? From being a marvel to being a tool, a product, a weapon.
The evolution is chilling. It reveals this deepening moral decay.
We encounter creations like the so-called E750 from Camp Cretaceous, this highly aggressive hybrid, or the terrifying Indoraptor from Fallen Kingdom.
Oh, the Indoraptor.
A creature explicitly designed for military applications, engineered to be both intelligent and obedient as a killing machine, but prone to uncontrollable rage.
These aren't accidental escapes or unexpected evolutionary leaps, are they?
No, not at all. They are products of deliberate, calculated design, intended for dangerous, often cruel purposes. Pushed forward by figures like Eli Mills and, tragically, Dr. Wu again.
Wu just keeps going down that path.
He seems to have completely lost his moral compass in the pursuit of profit and scientific breakthrough.
Yeah. That's such a profound shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Lóng Tíng makes a crucial distinction here. These creations are not failures of science.
Right. That's key.
They're failures of leadership.
Yeah.
Science simply provides the how, the capability to manipulate DNA, to bring creatures back, to engineer hybrids with specific traits.
But leadership, true ethical leadership, dictates the why. It's about the purpose, the intention, the moral compass guiding scientific advancement.
And in these later iterations of the Jurassic Park universe, that moral compass isn't just broken.
It's completely missing, replaced by greed, power, and a shocking disregard for sentient life.
Precisely. And this is where the truly critical ethical questions for leaders arise. Questions that cut right to the very soul of decision-making. Like, who signs off on a creature meant to be both incredibly smart and terrifyingly obedient, designed to kill on command? Who decides that fear is not a byproduct of these creatures, but a deliberately engineered feature?
Chilling.
And most disturbingly, who ignores the glaring signs that these sentient beings are suffering, that they're in pain and distress, simply because they are a means to an end, a lucrative weapon, or a horrifying exhibit.
These aren't just questions for a fictional universe, are they? They delve into the profound ethical implications of real-world decision-making when technology outpaces moral foresight. It's about the dehumanization, or rather the decreaturization of living beings for profit.
And the connection to our world is undeniable. It's urgent, making these fictional dilemmas feel uncomfortably close to home.
How so?
In the rapid advancements of AI, biotechnology, military systems, we are making real-world versions of these very choices, often in less dramatic, maybe, but equally profound ways.
Give me an example.
Consider the development of autonomous weapon systems, drones, robots that can make life-or-death decisions without direct human intervention. That's the very concept of an Indoraptor with the trigger finger, essentially.
Yeah.
Or the ever-expanding capabilities of gene editing technologies like CRISPR. They could alter human existence, potentially leading to unforeseen consequences or exacerbating societal inequalities if driven by market demand for designer traits.
Creating genetic haves and have-nots.
Possibly. Or AI systems deployed without adequate ethical frameworks to address inherent biases, potential misuse, or the fundamental question of who is truly in control when an algorithm makes critical decisions. The question of whether we are creating tools or creating monsters for profit or power is very, very real.
And this brings us back to the ultimate ethical question, doesn't it? The one that leadership often fails to consult before it's too late.
The most basic one.
It's the very foundation of responsible innovation, and it's a question as old as humanity's capacity to invent. Just because we can, should we? This is where ethical leadership truly begins. Long before the technical capabilities are fully realized, long before the first line of code is written, or the first gene is spliced. It's that moment of profound introspection and moral reckoning that should precede any significant technological leap. A question that prioritizes wisdom and human well-being over unbridled ambition.
The suffering of the Indoraptor is a direct consequence of ignoring that question.
Absolutely. It's a manifestation of that ethical failure.
So the creation of weaponized, suffering hybrids like the Indoraptor profoundly underscores that ethical failures in leadership, not just scientific capability, are responsible for developing potentially catastrophic technologies.
It forces us to confront that fundamental question. Just because we can, should we?
So, considering the rapid advancements in AI, biotech, or defense systems, where are we currently making choices that mirror the creation of the Indoraptor? And how can we collectively ensure that the fundamental ethical question, just because we can, should we, is prioritized? Not just as a philosophical query, but as a practical, actionable guideline for innovation.
That's the challenge we face right now.
As we enter the final part of our deep dive, the ultimate lesson from the lost world emerges. And it's a profound reorientation, a paradigm shift for anyone in a leadership position.
Okay, what is it?
Leadership is not about taming the wild. It's about learning how to live with it.
Learning to live with it, not control it.
Exactly. Think about that for a second. It's about accepting the inherent, untamable nature of certain forces, be they natural, technological, or societal, rather than futilely trying to dominate and control them.
It's a statement that holds inherent wisdom, doesn't it? Applicable far beyond the confines of a dinosaur park. It speaks to a necessary shift from an attitude of mastery and absolute control to one of coexistence, humility, adaptive intelligence.
The dinosaurs returned, yes. But crucially, as Lóng Tíng notes, they never belonged in cages.
And that isn't just about their physical size.
No. It speaks to the futility of trying to exert absolute rigid control over nature, or indeed, any complex system that possesses its own inherent logic and unpredictability. You could build the biggest cage, but if you don't understand the nature of what you're containing...
You will always find a way out. Life find a way.
Yeah. And that leads to a profound definition of true leadership, one that contrasts so sharply with Hammond's initial vision.
What kind of leadership is that?
It's the kind of leadership that admits what cannot truly be earned or completely controlled. It listens not just to the data or the market trends, but to the natural world, to its signals, its warnings, the inherent patterns of chaos.
It pays attention.
It constantly rethinks its initial assumptions, constantly adapting its strategies. And perhaps most difficult of all, it lets go of the fantasy that nature or even society or a complex organization can be managed with the same precision and predictability as a line of computer code.
It's about understanding that complexity will always outwit simplistic control. Always. This requires an immense amount of humility, though, a recognition of inherent limits, and the adaptive capacity needed to not just survive, but to genuinely thrive within those limits. It's the absolute antithesis of the hubris that plagued Hammond and his successors.
It means understanding that some forces are just too grand.
Too grand, too complex, too wild to be fully contained by human design. True leaders, therefore, are not just about building. They're about understanding limits, fostering resilience, and knowing when to allow natural processes or complex systems to operate on their own terms. Guiding rather than dominating.
And if you trace the journey of so many characters across the entire franchise, from Hammond himself, who, in The Lost World, seems to grapple with the idea of a natural wild ecosystem, to Dr. Wu, who eventually witnesses the catastrophic results of his own unbridled ambition.
A hard lesson for Wu.
From Claire, who transforms from a control-obsessed manager to a compassionate protector, to Owen, who learns that respect and understanding are far more powerful than forced obedience. From Sadler, who always trusted science and instinct over protocols, to Malcolm, who consistently warned of chaos. Every single one of them wrestles with power.
They grapple with the illusion of control, with the desire to shape the world to their will.
And the best of them, the ones who really learn something.
They learn to step back.
They learn to step back. This is such a powerful, almost counterintuitive insight for many leaders, isn't it? Sometimes, leading means walking away from the control panel.
Not because you've given up.
No. But because you've understood a deeper truth about power and control.
It fundamentally challenges the very notion that a leader's job is always to grasp, to command, to optimize, to exert maximum force. Instead, it suggests that sometimes the most effective, most ethical act of leadership is to recognize when a system, a situation, or even an entire endeavor has grown beyond the capacity for singular human control.
And to allow for a different kind of order.
One that emerges organically, one that embraces the wildness. It's about facilitating, not forcing. It's about recognizing that trying to impose complete order on inherently chaotic systems will only lead to greater chaos in the end.
This principle has incredible real-world application. It offers a fresh lens for current challenges.
Like what?
Think about our global challenge with climate change. True leadership here isn't about somehow perfectly controlling the planet's climate. That's the ultimate illusion of control, right?
Impossible.
It's about acknowledging nature's immense power, adapting to its changes, living more sustainably within its boundaries, recognizing what we can and cannot control.
Accepting limits.
Or consider leading through profound societal shifts, like the rapid advancements in AI or evolving social norms. It requires empathy, deep listening to diverse voices, continuous adaptation, rather than imposing rigid top-down mandates that ignore the nuances of human experience. Even in our personal lives, there's immense power in recognizing our limits. The freedom found in relinquishing the illusion of total mastery over every aspect of our existence. Embracing instead the wild, unpredictable nature of life itself.
The ultimate lesson from the Lost World, then, is that true leadership lies in humility. Recognizing the inherent wildness of certain forces, abandoning the illusion of complete control, and wisely knowing when to step back from the control panel.
It's about understanding that genuine power often lies not in domination,
but in profound respect for the limits of our influence and the inherent logic of the systems we interact with.
So maybe ask yourself, what control panels in your own life or sphere of influence might you need to consider stepping away from? Acknowledging that some things require a different kind of leadership, one of listening, adapting, and letting go.
A deep question.
As we bring this deep dive to a close, let's revisit that opening question.
What if the park was always a mirror?
Bringing it full circle. Because the ultimate aha moment of this entire journey, guided by Lóng Tíng's insights, is realizing that Jurassic Park was never truly about dinosaurs.
It was always about us.
It was always about us.
It's a profound reflection of humanity's choices about the leaders we choose to follow, often for their charisma or their grand promises rather than their wisdom or their capacity for accountability.
Right.
It's about the systems we meticulously build, sometimes with fatal flaws baked right into their very foundation. And perhaps most tellingly, it's about the ethics we so easily overlook and our relentless pursuit of progress or profit. Consequences be damned.
And perhaps, most of all, it's about the illusions we're still clinging to.
Still.
Oh yeah. Those comfortable certainties that blind us to the inherent chaos, the unpredictable nature of life, and the profound, often terrifying consequences of our actions when we disregard the fundamental truths of complexity and ethics. The fantasy of perfect control is still very much alive in our world.
It is, and the profound closing statements from Lóng Tíng's work resonate so deeply here, distilling the essence of everything we've discussed.
What are they again?
The wild doesn't listen to logos, and legacy isn't a monument. It's a choice.
Wow. The wild doesn't listen to logos. What does that mean to you?
It implies that nature, chaos, fundamental truths, they are utterly indifferent to human branding, corporate rhetoric, or carefully constructed rationales. You can't market your way out of natural consequences. A carefully crafted vision won't just magically bend reality to its will.
Reality bites back.
It does. And legacy isn't a monument. That means it's not a static, physical thing like a theme park or a building that you simply construct and leave behind hoping it stands forever.
It's not set in stone.
No. Instead, legacy is an ongoing active choice, a continuous series of decisions, actions, ethical stances that define how we lead and how we live. Every single day, with every project, every innovation, every interaction.
So if Jurassic Park reveals the lost world within us, what hidden biases, unexamined assumptions, or desires for control might still be clinging to the edges of our own perceptions, waiting to unravel when we least expect it? And what wisdom might we uncover by daring to truly stay wild and stay awake to the complexities and ethical challenges of our modern world?
That's the ongoing work.
It is. We'll leave you with this powerful call from Lóng Tíng. Stay wild, stay awake, lead wisely.